Yeah. It's like this. Yeah. Power acquires presence, constant calibration. The price of paranoia is distorted information. Counterculture underground with an ear upon the pavement. Understand the wise words behind a strategic engagement. Yeah. Yeah. There's a story told in boardrooms of a CEO named Gray who built an empire in silence, kept his rivals far away. He worked from a compound hidden in the Colorado hills with satellites for communication, insulated from the chills of market gossip of the whispers that the traders trade. He thought his distance made him safe. His fortress walls were made of money and of technology, of layers of defense. But while he sat in isolation, the world was growing dense with competitors who mingled, who broke bread and shared the wine, who learned the subtle rhythms of the market's grand design. When the crash came, Gray was ready. His data said as much, but his data was a fossil, out of sync, out of touch. Because the market isn't numbers, it's the feeling in the room. It's the eye contact between the players, it's the collective doom. A joy that travels faster than a fiber optic wire through the human network, through the gossip and the fire. Gray lost everything that year, not because his plans were wrong, but because his fortress kept him from the pulse, the street, the song of information that only lives inside the noisy crowd. The fallacy of fortresses is thinking walls are shroud, when they're really blindfolds, really cages made of gold. The price of perfect safety is the story left untold. Power requires presence, constant calibration. The price of paranoia is distorted information. Counterculture underground with an ear upon the pavement. Understand the wise words behind a strategic engagement. In the digital expanse where the creators make their name, there's a temptation to build walls around the digital flame, to work in isolation, to never share the prompt or seed, to protect the secret sauce from every greedy eye in need. I watch the producer rise like this, a ghost inside the code, never collaborating, never sharing out the load. His sound was unique, untouchable, a fortress of design. And for a while, the industry was chasing down his line, but while he guarded every brick, the world was moving fast. New collaborations forming, new alliances to cast a wider net, a deeper pool of cross-pollinated sound. While he sat alone refining on his isolated ground, when his style finally surfaced in the mainstream of the game, he found 100 others there, and they all sounded the same. Not because they'd stolen from him, but because they'd grown together in the open, in a network they had sown. He built a fortress out of fear. When he finally stepped outside, the world had passed him, left him with nowhere left to hide. The fallacy of fortresses in the AI age is clear. Isolation isn't safety, it's the thing you most should fear. The network is the organism, the solo cell just dies. Information needs to swarm to grow, to multiply. Yeah. Power requires presence, constant calibration. The price of paranoia is distorted information. Counterculture underground with an ear upon the pate. Understand the wise words behind a strategic engagement. Now let me take you to the corner where a legend learned this hard. Old man Reese ran the numbers, had the whole thing carved and charred in his head, in his ledger, in his solitary mind. He trusted no one, let no one get too close or intertwine. His operation ran like clockwork, smooth and tight and clean. But Reese was the only one who knew the full machine. When he got sick that winter, pneumonia in his chest, the whole thing froze, the whole thing stopped. There was no backup, blessed. The young heads circled like the wolves they always were, but Reese had kept them at such distance. They had no respect for him, no sir. That Eddie senior mentor, when they looked into his eyes, they saw a gatekeeper who'd kept them from their own rise. So when he called for help, for someone to run the books, they shrugged and turned and walked away with cold and empty looks. The fortress he had built around his knowledge and his power became his prison in the foreign, on his thorny tower. Reese survived, but barely, and his empire dissolved, because the walls that kept threats out also kept solutions unresolved. The fallacy of fortresses on the street is crystal clear. You need the network's loyalty when trouble's drawing near, and loyalty is built on presence, on the letting people in, not on walls that keep you separate from the world you're trying to win. Power requires presence, constant calibration. The price of paranoia is distorted information. Counterculture underground with an ear upon the pavement. Understand the wise words behind a strategic engagement. The walls you build to keep them out, keep you in. Counterculture moves